From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
You know, a lot of folks would think that I'm satisfied when it comes out in mainstream news that your smartphones are dialed into hundreds of corporations, major governments, with signals to all the other stuff in your house that's been digitally pre-designed and rolled out like Trojan horses to surveil you, control you, manipulate you. You'd think I'd be happy that's all confirmed. No, I'm not happy. We didn't stop it. It's been made ubiquitous, and now it's just rolled out. And then Zach was bringing up, I got a bunch of guests coming up in the next segment, one of the producers, that, yeah, he saw a documentary, a presentation, where the psychologists know what they're doing. And not all psychologists are bad. Most of them are just, you know, the general public trying to help people. But the corporations hire psychologists with their subliminals and their manipulations, their overt, their covert control, to then give everybody a trophy. Well, then it just makes ever getting success meaningless because you don't know. And then millennials are afraid to ask a girl out. They're afraid to ask a guy out. They're the equivalent of like 10-year-olds by the time they get to college. And that was the point I was making a few weeks ago that Colbert made a big joke out of. I was on the other extreme end. I'm not proud of the way I was when I was a teenager, but I was acting like some horrible playboy who was 45 years old and was a billionaire. I mean, I was just a maniac. But that was because I had all my animal traits expressed early on. Then I tapered them off after that. And of course, here we are today. Politically, not bowing down, not giving in. So there's this domestication. They know what they're doing. And Zach, you're always saying eloquent things behind the scenes. I mean, let it rip with your rants about millennials. And I'm not saying Generation Z is perfect. It seems, because the first generation, say, of insects that gets hit with a pesticide tends to die. A few live, but then the next generation becomes more resistant and another one becomes immune. And I think we're going to see kind of the X-Man, not Generation X, but kind of the X-Man effect, where more people psychologically and spiritually are more resistant to what's coming. But some generations, the first to be hit with true psychological warfare, like the millennials, have been just hammered by it.
Yes, and I mean, it started with a whole everyone is equal, everyone's on the equal plane with each other, everyone is all receiving the same awards, and they were saying it leads to how we feel about Facebook and how social media, that's feeding all of our reward centers, because you go on Facebook and the first thing you're doing is you're posting all comment statuses, you're posting pictures about how happy your life looks and how happy, but in reality you're miserable. You're building a fake life, yes, but you're miserable. It's all show, it's all posing. And again, Facebook documents come out 2 weeks ago. They're preying on people and trying to keep them insecure and pathetic in the false reality instead of being successful in the real reality. That's what the globalists want. Yep. And it creates this entire just yearn for some sort of, I guess, some sort of purpose in their life. It makes it so that their work isn't important because they're not searching for more value. And don't worry, Facebook's got SJW work. They'll make you feel empowered. Yep. So that's where you go. You feel like, yo, you don't have a voice. You go on Facebook, and the amount of likes you get, the amount of retweets you get, the amount of comments you get, that is the entire design of your pleasure center. And it becomes a miserable experience because then you realize all of it's fake, and you invite everyone to your birthday party and no one shows up. Instead, the real conflict's happening. We still engage the internet, but we're in the real third dimension. We're winning. You can join us now. Yep. All the ancient systems of humans, the honor, the truth, the justice, the struggles, it's here. We're waiting. Join us. Zach, that's why I want you guys, I want to have a roundtable show with the producers. I'm serious. Starting out on the weekends, but weekdays, because these producers are so smart. We'll actually get them on air to talk about it. So there's Zach breaking that down. We're going to come back with some of the guests straight ahead. I'm Alex Jones, and this is the human resistance against dehumanization. This is human victory. CompoundMedia.com, Gavin McInnes on Twitter. Gavin McInnes is a English-born Canadian writer, actor, comedian, movie star, you name it. He founded Vice. Of course, that's been taken over and turned into an SJW sewage line. And he, of course, does a lot of great work out there with Compound Media and so many other groups. And it's really great to have him on the broadcast with us. Le Pen lost, and I don't want to be a sore loser, but all over the internet, all over the news, there's like all these ballots of hers stolen.
and the poll showed neck and neck, or her ahead, or her slightly behind. Then she loses by like 30 points. Was this the French going with style, capitulating, being cuckolded, going into Stockholm Syndrome? Or
France is run by women, and it's not just any woman. It's crazy ex-girlfriends who think that suicide is dramatic and sexy. They think they're in a movie. French girls are nuts. They love drama. So they voted for this Marie Cohn because they like suicide. It's a screw you to Trump, to Brexit, to America, to their own fathers. It's just it's like a girl just jumping off a cliff and going, nobody loves me.
Well, that's exactly what it is, because you've got massive radical Muslim influx, raping, killing. We'll probably play a short video in a minute where the Islamicists are all celebrating. I mean, this is totally insane. Tourism's down 80% the last decade. Macron is in front of giant Illuminati pyramids. You've got all this craziness happening. What do you think really happened? So you think she really did get elected then?
Yeah, there was tons of evidence. They were handing out. I know a lot of French people. Maybe it's from being from Montreal. But when they would get their ballots, and this is documented too, there'd be a little tear in the Le Pen one, so they could presumably throw it out. But she got a third of the votes. I think that the immigrants who hate her, yeah, look at all those torn ballots. And you got to understand, too, France is all bureaucrats. The word bureau means desk. The whole country is so bureaucratic that if you're in the private sector, it's like being an albino or a professional athlete. People go, oh, vous travaillez dans le secteur privé, quoi. Oh, c'est bizarre. It's like a weird thing they've never heard of. So I think we had a million forces against us. But the biggest force against us and against the French is their own ethno-masochism. They hate themselves. And I went to France after Bataclan, and I would say the number one concern after 89 people were not just killed, but dismembered, eviscerated, tortured. After that, their number one concern was a backlash.
Wow. Looking at France and you know, the example of committing suicide, where do you think France goes in the future here?
Well, I actually just talked to a guy who got back from there, and he was optimistic. He said, yes, she lost, but he doesn't have a party. He doesn't have a movement. He won by sort of cobbling together a bunch of different, you know when all the Transformers get together and they make one giant Transformer? So those parties he's made up of, they don't like him. So it's not like Le Pen, who's been building a force that her father built for generations and generations. And he says that they're going to have some real momentum here. There's more elections going on for smaller deals.
Macron, form devastator.
Yeah, so he's more like the island of misfit toys, and she's more like Mrs. Claus. I really feel like we're going to see some change there, because there are some sane French people, like the police. They're cool.
Well, that's right. They actually bucked their own unions and said, go for Le Pen. I just don't get how they indicted her for saying radical Islam is the number one threat to France since the Nazis occupied them. I mean, clearly that's what's going on. They're burning stuff, murdering, killing constantly. I don't understand why the French are so into this and want to bring more Muslims in from third world countries.
They are take the worst parts of America, the most annoying Americans you can think of, the Upper West Side liberals, and then make that a whole country. And that's what they are. They're really the most detestable, self-hating Westerners available to man. And, you know, this wasn't in France, but there was I forget, I think she was Dutch. There was a woman who was just raped by Muslim migrants, and then she filed a false report in order to
say it was Germans. Yeah, that was in Germany a few months ago. She said, oh, I filed a fake report because I don't want the Muslims to get in trouble.
And then we have that other Muslim male politician who was raped by a Somalian, and he felt terrible. No, not in his ass. He felt terrible that this guy was going to be deported. So I think it's hard for this sort of freedom-loving North American brain to understand them, but they could have their feet cut off. And they would just go, well, I mean, stubs are handier anyway. I'll save money on shoes. There's no limit to the suffering that they will take on. And
how did their life force get sucked out of them?
That's a great question. I really feel like it's feminism. I mean, I don't know how many times we were down there doing interviews, and there'd be some woman who would come up and she'd go, what are you doing? What are you doing? And as she was talking, the man would always be behind her, just sort of going like, And then I'd say, we're interviewing Muslims. There was just a Muslim attack. And she'd say, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted, meaning don't blame Muslims for this attack. And I would try to antagonize her boyfriend and try to make him mad so he'd fight. And I'd say, can't you get her in the kitchen to make a sandwich just to get some life out of him? And she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't budge.
I was about to say, we had this teacher last week on video saying, kill Alex Jones. And then she keeps saying, I want him dead, I want him to die. And the guy that's doing the interview goes, how dare you say that? So the guy kind of gets in his face and goes, let's go. Then he backs off, and the woman starts bossing the guy who's like 6'7" around, because the other guy's like 6'3", and is literally, she's in charge. And they're using our chivalry just to like absolutely dominate, but they don't even dominate for anything. It's like they cuck out, the feminists cuck out to whoever the most crazy, primitive, nutball alpha male is from a monotheistic, crazy Islam. And then, of course, you talked about this a year ago, now it's mainstream news. Women wearing hijabs to stand against Trump in solidarity with Islam. Why don't they just take scissors and cut their genitals off? I mean, this is insanity.
I'm really glad you brought up that clip, too, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm having some audio problems here. Hold on a second.
It's all right. Live TV radio here with Gavin McInnes, the superstar. But seriously, folks.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I had another speaker in the room. Yeah, the beauty of that clip is she's sitting there picking fights with strangers. A giant is trying to tell her to calm down, and then she wants to kill you. And it's the same thing in France. It's this arrogance that is putting not just the country in danger, but these actual women in danger.
And she says, I want to kill him. And the guy goes, that's wrong. She goes, how dare you be upset? I just want to kill people.
It's also evidence, by the way, that women shouldn't drink, because she's clearly had a few too many Manhattans. But here in New York, speaking of Manhattan, we just had this woman who was pushed in front of a train. And you're reading the article and you go, wait a minute, it says 4:20 a.m. Why was a woman on a subway in New York at 4:20 a.m.? And then 2 days later, we have this German woman who's up in Harlem at 2 in the morning, also taking a subway. She gets mugged and assaulted and raped.
By the way, I'm a pretty tough guy. New York subways, I've been on them at 3 a.m. They're scary. I've had guys try to rob me.
It's so bad that you're almost saying something just by being there. If you and I were in Harlem at 4 a.m., it's almost like we're saying, hey, we want to fight. Let's go. We're starting a fight just by existing. But we've over-empowered these women to the point where they go, I want to beat up this guy. I want to kill Alex Jones. I'm going to do this. And then the next thing you know, they're voting out of spite. They voted for this, I call him Maricon. They voted for this Maricon as a screw you to us. To America, and to people that don't like Muslims. And you go, lady, you shouldn't do things out of spite. It's too emotional. Try to be rational, please. No,
I agree. I've been like out on a boat. You get off the boat at 3 a.m. You're having a great time. You're on the New York subway, even in Manhattan, and there are people going, nice watch. And you're like, dude, I'm the same size as you. And they're like trying to rob you. I couldn't imagine women just waltzing on to like subways at 4 a.m. I mean,
feminism is making women, it's endangering them. It's making them vulnerable.
Well, I told you the story. I've been out with my friends who have like super gorgeous wives, and we'll be out at a pool hall, nice place, whatever, and women will walk over with like duck's ass haircuts, like James Dean, and try to like grab guys' wives from us. And they're so confident when we say, get the hell out of here, they start bitching like we're being misogynistic. Listen, dude, this is his wife. You don't just come pick her up, lady. Get the hell out of here.
Well, look at Moldy Locks. She goes, I'm going to go get 100 Nazi scalps. And you go, that's not wise. And then, she runs out of the front line. Pow! She gets nailed by
Oh, yeah, let's pull that up. What's the article to pull that up where this lady goes, I'm going to go kick people's asses at the Berkeley March. And then she's surprised when she hits somebody, they cold cock her.
Yeah, she goes, I'm getting 100 Nazi scalps. And she also, in that tweet, she goes, I'm kind of scared, but also excited. And you go, that's scared you feel? Those are your natural human instincts. The problem with the far left is they're anti-instinct. They're anti-natural. So the next thing you know, you're just walking through Harlem. I'm going to go beat up some drug dealers. Then I'm going to go kill some Nazis. Do-do-do. I'm in a movie.
Meanwhile, you can be 6'7" and a UFC fighter. You don't want to do that.
If you got mugged in a subway at 4 a.m., I'd go, well, that sucks, Alex.
But you deserve it.
What were you doing? Were you drunk? Are you familiar with New York City? What were you thinking? And now it's spread out to the world. We've told women they're men. And you know why we did this, by the way? I think a lot of this is just so you can bang chicks until they're 40 and then dump them because they're too old. So the men benefit from this lie. But we've told women...
Oh, they go along with it. I don't have any responsibility, baby, but you're so cool. Yeah, you're a feminist. And then the men get to be lazy.
It's like bra burning. They go, we're going to let our tits flop around. And you go, oh, no, please don't do that. I hate seeing breasts everywhere. Woo.
Gavin McInnes is our guest. We'll be right back. We got some other stuff coming up. The Alex Jones Show with yours truly, Alex Jones and Gavin McInnes. Owen Schroyer's going to be popping in because we got warnings on 2 YouTube channels because we played a clip from Australian TV of Muslims beating up police and screaming, we love Osama, we love Obama. And they said, this is culturally hateful, you can't show it. We're going to play it again next segment. They're like, one more time, you're off the air. Meanwhile, local news can report it, national news can. So that's coming up. But that's what's crazy about this is there's such intensified censorship going on. And they're really trying to carry all this out. And Macron is, suing U.S. journalists like Posobiec we had on yesterday. To me, it's a sign of desperateness. I don't see myself as that important. I mean, we reach a lot of people, so does Gavin. But when they're saying Gavin McInnes is evil, ban him, Alex Jones is evil, ban him, it's actually really cool to go, wow, these people are not invincible if they're obsessing about how they want to beat us up, how they want to kill us, how they want to go after us, how all this is happening. So looking at the state of the world, I hear all these criticisms of Trump. He's not God. He's killed the TPP. He is got all these hundreds of billions of new investment, trillions in the stock market. He's bringing back Glass-Steagall that doesn't let the big banks sell derivatives. They totally hate him for that. Clinton got rid of that in 95. He's doing so much good. Then he compromises to get us a better health bill. Everybody's like, I'm done with him. And we've gone from selling, 500 Trump T-shirts a day to like 50. That shows me the capitulation like babies, like social justice warriors demanding it's up to us. Trump's for real. That's why they're having hearings saying he's a Ruski, folks. Trump is absolutely a godsend. Is he perfect? Hell no. I can barely run my own life. I can barely keep the right groceries in the refrigerator. I can barely run 70 employees. Trump's got millions of employees. I can't believe he's doing this good a job. I'm not on some Trump-worshipping weenie fest here. The truth is we ought to be on our knees to God, thanking God that Trump's gotten this much done. That's why they hate him so much. Gavin McInnes.
It's really what separates us from the left. I mean, they have the pendulum swung so far away from that tendency that Obama can do no wrong. He can blow $500 million on Solyndra solar panels. He can spend more money and take more time to build a website than it took us to defeat the Nazis. And they go, well, you just hate him because he's black. Bill Clinton can rape people. They can have people murdered. He can have sex with his intern. And they go, well, I just care about his policies. Whereas on the right, we'll go, the wall's not coming fast enough. Or that healthcare bill, it might go bad after a while. Or he's probably going to depose Assad. It's all these hypotheticals, and I like it in a sense because it shows that we're independent thinkers and we're not slaves to anyone. But it's also frustrating.
But we can't be slaves to instant gratification.
It's instant gratification, and it's a lack of unity, too. There's always the neocons hate the paleocons, hate the libertarians, hate the tradcons, hate the Republicans, hate the Republican establishment. The gay Republicans hate the anti-gay. I mean, even within Christianity, there's so much splintering.
10,000 plus denominations.
It's frustrating. And
that's the problem with freedom is we are splintered. We're not the cult. So what do we do?
Well, it's funny, too, when they talk about the rich, white, cis male that's taking over. You go, which one? Because they all hate each other. Pat Buchanan and George W. Bush could not be farther apart.
But the cis male billionaires of Soros and Zuckerberg and Schmidt, they're all, and Bill Gates, they're all together to screw us over with liberalism.
That's what globalism is, isn't it? It's one big homogeneity. It's let's destroy the world and then we'll rebuild it with our own, Soros toothpaste or whatever. We'll rebuild it up in our image. I mean, Soros even talks about that Esperanto, just having one global language. It's like Tower of Babel stuff. And
have you read where Soros 20 years ago said he believes he's Christ, but didn't want to say it because he might get locked up? He believes he's like the Earth's savior.
Well, he certainly behaves like that. And though it's good news that he's running out of time, I think he's passed this on to his kids. So we'll be dealing with the Soroses of the world for a long time. And it's
Are
funny.
The Soroses like the herpes of the world? They just keep coming back?
And it's such a deep, deep fundamental evil that trickles down to everything. Like with Obama, they go, why do you care about, why do you think Trump is going to change these social justice warriors? Well, look at Obama with Title IX. He came up with a government program that incentivized schools finding rapists. So the next thing you know, schools are saying, there's a rapist, there's a rapist, there's a rapist, because he pays them. So
but bring the Muslims in where it's part of the culture and totally ignore that.
Yeah, or we get that idiot with the clock who did a prank and tried to scare his classmates to make a politically correct point, and the president invites him to the White House. Cool clock, Ahmed.
Gavin McInnes, stay there. Let's look at Islam, and can we reform it? God, I want to reform it. I don't want to have war with these people. Let's talk about it straight ahead with Gavin McInnes, ladies and gentlemen. We'll give you his website on the other side of this break, but for now, you can just simply go to compoundmedia.com.
We're on the march.
Yeah, the globalists want to sabotage our free market system. Now, Owen Schroyer's here, and I wanted to bring him in with Gavin McInnes. You're a big fan of Gavin's. We'll talk about it in a minute because we got 2 warnings from YouTube. They took down 2 videos. We have shots of those we'll show you, where we showed mainstream Australian TV where Muslims are just beating police up and screaming, we love Osama, we love Obama. And they said, this is improper. This violates community guidelines of like racism or something. So it's this ongoing deal now where it's like protect the Muslims. Don't ever show what they're throwing gays off buildings or whatever. They've given us a warning over that, too. We just show articles where they're throwing them. We don't even show the video, but then CNN can do whatever they want. So we're going to talk to Gavin McInnes in a moment. Before I go any further, we are mainly funded by listeners. Everybody knows that. And I have produced with some of the top companies out there. We've private labeled some of the top products you see sold at Whole Foods. We just then discount them. So these are the highest quality. We've got a huge discount finally back in stock. Biome Defense, the probiotic with the very best strains. That is so good for you. Survival Shield X2 is selling out. That is the purest form from deep earth crystals from oil drilling and gas drilling, not the stuff from seaweed. Amazing, good halogen. We also have a lot of other products available at InfoWarsStore.com. We're selling Trump pin shirts at cost. Not that Trump or pins are perfect, but just to be politically incorrect everywhere and trigger people. It's so important. And Super Blue sold out for a month and a half that it turns blue because it's got the real iodine in it, the real colloidal silver. It's fluoride-free, maybe the biggest company in the United States that makes fluoride-free toothpaste. We private label it. It's made, obviously, up in Maine. It's 33% off retail. We have the children's bubble gum, natural flavor that doesn't have the spearmint and peppermint in it that's so strong. So we have the adult and the child available with high-quality toothpaste. If you sign up for AutoShip, you get an additional 10% off, and then you know you're supporting us each month with products you need. So whether it's X2, whether it's Lung Cleanse, whether it's all the other great products at InfoWarsLife.com, it is you buying the products that literally, you know what's in the face of the New World Order. Because they want to make you poor. They want to control you. They don't want free market. They don't want the American system. They don't want you subscribing to the work that Gavin McInnes is doing over at compoundmedia.com or The Rebel. They don't want you actually engaging and realizing, like the Muslims give 30-40% of what they do to political action. The average Westerner gives like 1% or less. If you just commit and just promote what we're doing and, you know, don't shout Bill Clinton's a rapist, we already kicked his ass, go shout Infowars.com on C-SPAN or National News or other sites, it defeats them. The war is now. So InfoWarsStore.com, whether it's water filtration systems, the very best, non-GMO heirloom seeds, Patriot Apparel, Molon Labe, books, films, documentaries, it's all there. Items everybody needs at great competitive prices, a lot of times lower than Amazon, and then you're funding an organization that is a literal burr in the saddle, a wasp stinging the behind of the globalist. So you cannot fund a more vicious, focused, committed, pure organization than InfoWars. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. Now, I want to go back to Gavin McInnes, but I'm going to bring in Owen Schroyer here. Oh, and let's set up this clip. I want to play it for Gavin McInnes, who's been through massive censorship himself. We have this from YouTube. Document cam, please. We also have some digital shots of this we can roll. Hate speech, and it says, report this. They have these digital people that report it. So if we show Muslims saying kill gays, they block the video. Now, the liberal side's showing it, it's okay. They have community guidelines, and they say that our video that we showed off of local TV in Australia of Muslims beating people up, beating police up, and running around, here it is, hundreds of crazed Islamists riot and injure police in Sydney. And so we show this video, and I noticed CNN was allowed to show this, others were, but we can't. Because, see, we're not real news. See, we can't show you something and say, oh, look at this. So you did a nightly news and a report on this. Both were banned, and YouTube's telling us you do this anymore, we may just kick you off because you're so horrible. And they just say it's hate, it's racism. What is racist? I can't believe these cops are being beat up by these guys. I mean, it's like they're socials. I'm not being saying I'm a tough guy, but I mean, you punch me, I'm going to break your jaw. I mean, I'm going to die trying. I mean, I've had my ass kicked. I've had my leg broken. I've been in, in almost a coma for 3 days, couldn't see. But I mean, you're going to get a fight. I mean, you try to attack on a chihuahua, it's going to bite you, Little chihuahua, you try to attack it, it's going to fight back. Where did the fighting spirit go? Tell us about this, Helen.
Well, you're not a chihuahua. And just to provide a little background information, because it was made to me that it was not clear. I didn't make myself clear when I originally did this, and I'm glad that we have members of the staff here that hold me accountable to my reporting. But basically, a video on YouTube surfaces, and it's claiming to be an Islamic video, and it offends all of the Muslims in Australia. So they go out and they start chanting because basically this video is demonizing Osama bin Laden, I suppose, and these Muslims like Osama bin Laden. Now, this is where I got into a disagreement.
So we're bringing people in that love Osama bin Laden.
Right.
They're on local news. We're not supposed to show, because local and national news in Australia is not worthy.
So here's the strange psychological thing that leads us to why we got banned. So these Muslims are in the street chanting, Obama, Obama, we love Osama. So my take from that is, first of all, why are they even associating with Obama this video? This video didn't come from Obama. It didn't come from the White House. Didn't even, as far as I'm concerned, it didn't even come from America. So why are they out on the streets? It's like, my theory is they look at Obama as their savior. They look for Obama.
No, I got it. Obama is now the leader of Muslims worldwide.
That's how I feel about it.
Yes, Obama is the leader of Muslims worldwide.
But regardless,
it doesn't matter. We're showing national and local news from Australia. This is newsworthy. We're on 200-plus stations. We reach 45 million people a week. It's not fake news or racist to show Muslims beating up police. Why the hell can CNN show this, but we can't? I'm going to show it in a minute. But Gavin McInnes, what is going on here? I am sick of this.
Well, it's placating the most dangerous religion in the world. That's how bad we are with this ethnomasochism. And I don't know how clear they have to make it to us. We're at the point now where they will do a terrorist act. We'll say that wasn't Muslims, and Muslims will go, no, that was us. Yeah, no, we did it.
All the shootings, all the attacks, exactly. Our media covers it up.
They have to compete with this liberal media and go, no, we want our names on that. We enjoyed doing Bataclan. We enjoy blowing people up. Don't take that away from us.
Running over little kids in Germany, in Sweden, in France. We love it. On the London Bridge. We love it. Give us credit.
Oh, they're calling for more truck attacks now. They're calling for
They say use bigger trucks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me.
Go ahead, Gavin. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sikhs are a religion that came here, by the way, huge victims of Islam.
Fighting Muslims.
1 million dead. Their whole raison d'etre is defending the weak. Totally compatible with the Western world. Hindus from India, totally compatible with the Western world.
They do great. They're one of the highest paid people in the country.
Yes, plenty of very
Indians merged with America, just like
we need doctors.
They're great people. Yeah, we don't care they got brown skin. They're just not running around murdering everybody. They're actually opening businesses.
This is how I phrased it.
They want swimming pools and jet airplanes.
This is how I phrased it, Alex. The United States of America used to be invaded by people that sought independence. Now it's invaded by people that are seeking total dependence.
That's right. But yeah. I want to play this clip. But Gavin, what do you make of this?
I think if you want to know the future of you and Islam, look to Israel. They were having hundreds of attacks before they built that wall, and they've gone down to 0. And there's that giant, beautiful wall that was built there that I wish Trump would take would go down there and just copy it. It's wonderful. And it brought down terrorism to 0 because what they said was, we can't work with you guys. We can't do a deal, so we're going to have a wall. And I think the Palestinians kind of appreciate it. They go, well, that was tough. Finally, these guys show some balls.
Exactly. Let's take Turkey. Claim they weren't radical. Now they join this whole caliphate. They're announcing invade Israel, take over Jerusalem. And again, this bashing Israel. Israel's this tiny country. Saudi Arabia won't take one, quote, Palestinian. Nobody will take them. In fact, most Palestinians are refugees thrown out of Muslim countries. Then they just call them refugees and then blame Israel. And I'm not in some Israel butt-kissing event, but Israel isn't doing anything.
There's one way to live with Muslims, and it's called building a wall. That's the only thing that works. And the only Muslims that do well, just like the Muslims who live in Israel, just like the Muslims they have in parliament, the only Muslims that do well aren't really that devout.
They're heretics.
They eat bacon, they'll have a beer. Those are the ones. So in a sense, they're less Muslim.
And let's be clear, I'm a Christian, I love God. If there were a bunch of crazy, super, ultra right-wing Christians running around saying, don't have a beer, don't dance, in my face screaming at me, I'd say, get the hell out of my country. But, I mean, imagine if Christians were sexually mutilating and putting women in slave pits and doing all this crap. And then I notice it's constantly Muslims trying to shut down InfoWars. They're the ones after us constantly, and I just want an open free society. I don't go why the left's allied with them. I don't want to go in some bashing fest, but our government has been allied with the most radical Islamic groups. Gavin, and then also Ellen, I'll play this clip. Why do you think our government, unless you disagree, is so, at least with Obama, allied with Islam? Why is France so allied? What the hell?
Because the left is hell-bent on sabotage. That's their number one priority. I want to destroy the family. I want to destroy Christianity. I want to burn this country to the ground. How do I sabotage my own culture? I know. Let's take the biggest bullies, the toughest ones, the most extreme nuts. Islam. Now, they're homophobic, they're racist, they're sexist. They're all the things I purport to hate, but they're really good at this sabotage thing. So go to the front of the line, boys, and just wreck everything.
Wow. Let's play this clip. Again, I'm showing everybody the views here. The hate speech. We're guilty of hate speech for showing national Australian TV, showing Muslims beating up police. This is happening.
This is reality.
We're not supposed to show this. We're on YouTube right now. They may ban this live feed because, again, the community guidelines say this is hateful. We have to show the hate. It's like saying, don't show Nazis doing atrocities because you're helping Nazis. That's what they're saying. They're saying, they don't even say what it is we've done. We're just not supposed to show Australian news. Let's go ahead. Here's the feed.
They've broken out into several groups. As you can see, it's very agitated, the situation here. Our cameraman just a couple of minutes ago captured some pictures of the rioters. They're very agitated. In fact, he was injured.
Just beat the hell out of these cops.
It's here this afternoon. Outraged.
Here's the craziness. We dare show the ISIS flag.
And I'm not some... Oh, yeah, they have ISIS flags. Here it is.
From fiery, things quickly turned violent.
Turned violent. They're attacking the police.
Hate speech.
I'm not in a butt-kissing thing for the police. Why are the police putting up being attacked?
Bloodied and dazed.
It's tolerant.
His workmates try to reassure him. With no apparent plan, the 100-strong crowd of mostly men stormed through the city. Police called...
Mostly men. I wonder where the women are.
Projectiles hurled at police. In Pitt Street Mall, a wall of force as frightened shoppers scattered. Capsicum spray used to move on the rioters.
Man, they pull that in Texas, the cops are just going to shoot them.
Police dogs were called
or someone else.
Dragged away, this man, bloodied, battered, his clothes
like Fort Hood.
The chaos continued through the afternoon.
They let 100 punks run around beating everybody up. So man, with 20 guys, I could beat the hell out of those.
So there they were chanting, Obama, Obama, we love Osama. So this is kind of the debate that I wanted to have when I was originally broadcasting that. We ran out of time, unfortunately. My question was, why are they chanting Obama?
Hi, guys. This is Daria. I'm on air right now. I wanted to say something about this. So the reason I think they're chanting, they're tying Obama's name with Osama in this particular video is I wanted to take this video into perspective. So this happened in 2012. What happened a year before? Libya was destroyed in 2012, right? I mean, it's in 2011. for 3 years since Obama got into office, he's been waging drone wars on a lot of Muslim countries throughout the world.
So that's what they're saying.
He killed thousands in Pakistan. Hundreds of people were killed in Yemen and Somalia. So in 2012, Obama ran on the slogan that Osama bin Laden is dead. I mean, that was the Democratic slogan of his 2012 campaign. So what I think is happening here is they're trying to appeal to Obama, and they're actually trying to demonize him actually in this video. So they're saying, Obama, we actually like Osama. Why are you
why did you betray him?
Let's be technical. I think this is 2015 was the riots in Sydney.
No, this is 2012. After the reaction to this video that's called The Innocence of Muslims.
Sure.
That was a really
my
low
question to
film.
Gavin and you and everybody is, why are we being censored when you guys showed this? Why can't we in America show what was on Australian TV? Gavin, Daria?
I think it's because you have Muslims chanting Obama. We can disagree on why they did it. I've got my opinion. Daria has hers. But it doesn't matter. It's the image. It's the optics of it. They can't handle that. Obama's back, baby. He's back. He's back from his little trip to his little island with his little boyfriends, okay? He's back. He's in South Chicago getting on politics. He's in Washington entrenched. He is back, baby. They can't have that video in the optics right now. They need Obama to win some of these people against Trump.
That's a good point. Gavin, what is your view on this video? I mean, I don't care who it is. There's nothing here. We're just showing a video. Everybody else can. Why can't we show this?
Isn't it amazing? If that's linked to The Innocence of Muslims, that movie, that little weird trailer that apparently caused Benghazi, was a Coptic Christian reacting to the fact that his people are being literally crucified by Muslims. And our first reaction, Hillary's first reaction is, uh-oh, we made the black kids angry. Uh-oh, the Arabs are mad. Let's put this guy, Nasrullah Bakli, Nasrullah, whatever his name was, let's put him in jail for a year because we don't want to offend people. So even when Christians are being massacred, we don't mention. I remember 60 Minutes did a whole thing on Coptic Christians too and how horrible it is. And they didn't mention that we just threw a Coptic Christian in jail for a year for making a video.
Oh, that's a good point, because I get confused. The news said 2015. I believe, Daria, this happened earlier. But what was Benghazi? 2013, right?
I think it was 2012 was Benghazi. And this story that I'm looking at, which apparently is covering that video exclusively, is from September 16th, 2012, September 11th, 2012.
So Daria's right about that. So Daria, what do you think about this whole clash of civilizations?
Well, the Libya war started in 2011 and lasted 6 months, and then Obama went with U.S. military into Africa and Uganda with that Coney debacle, that militant. So I think that the Muslims were actually really pissed at Obama at that time. He was not their darling. I mean, I think these particular Muslims are obviously very low IQ Muslims who bought this little video and are trying to respond to it in a very reactionary manner. They're not thinking.
What do you think about them censoring it? Why do you think they're blocking us playing it?
Oh, well, this is just an ongoing censorship that YouTube and Google is involved in. I mean, let's talk about this Innocence of Muslims
But it's
video,
obvious
right?
they targeted that video, though. That's why we're talking about it. Because it happened twice.
So actually, after these protests, Obama was the one, and our now infamously Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals was the one that sided with YouTube and Google and took down that video, The Innocence of Muslims. I mean, that is horrendous.
Trying to set the precedent to kill free speech.
The Ninth Court is against Constitution, against the First Amendment. So I think this war is against the First Amendment.
That's it. Let's talk about that. We come back with Gavin McInnes. Straight ahead, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. Wow, we're on fire today. Waging war on corruption. By the way, I love Daria jumping in. I know you and her were getting in an argument earlier.
We disagree on the reason why they're saying Obama's name.
Sure, but that's fine.
But yeah, it doesn't really cover what we're talking about. Why?
The point is, we're not a cult. Like, we're not pre-scripting what you say on air.
Yeah.
I mean, do I pre-script what you say on air?
No. And you didn't even know that me and Daria were having a disagreement on
that.
Yeah,
I was like, what the hell's going on? I'm back there, you guys were having a fight before the show.
Well, she called me out, and like I said, I'm okay, you know, if I report on something and it doesn't come off.
No, that's fine. She brought great context. Yeah, the point is, we're trying to tell the truth. We're not. Mainline TV and radio is so scripted. They got to pre-approve everything. The point is, that's not going on here. So the whole media assault is, we're fake. we're actors, we're not real, it's BS. No, it's not. You're calling in, our guests are real. That's why they hate this, because mainstream media is not free. It's not real news. It's not real journalism. They aren't free like Gavin McInnes is. Gavin, I mean, we're seeing massive assaults on people that promote free speech.
Isn't it interesting, too, how you're an ideas man? You're just disseminating ideas, concepts. No one's died. No one gets hurt. No one gets hurt. But then you have Black Lives Matter saying, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them now? Cops get killed. We have hands up, don't shoot all over the mainstream media. More cops get killed. We have Hillary lying about a video.
You have Van Jones saying white lash, and then white kids get killed.
You have Newsweek saying that it's time to riot and kill people. Then I'm blamed with calling for violence. Sorry, Gavin, go ahead.
And to all these censors that want to shut us down, I go, okay, let's just for fun assume that you're out there trying to stop ideas that get people killed. We should be number 1,000 on your list. I mean, there was thousands of these Islamic magazines, these PDFs downloaded in England and in Europe before those truck attacks. And the magazine said, use a truck to do this attack. Yet you are being persecuted, Alex Jones, because a jury doesn't like your views and they have to take your kids away because you're dangerous somehow. And I think the really dangerous part is that we promote freedom, and that scares them because they're not in control.
That's it. Do you think we're winning the war overall? Because we're having some victories, but the empire striking back with the defeated Le Pen. I mean, where are we historically?
I'm glad you brought this up, because this just happened in New Orleans. The corrupt mayor, Mitch Landrieu, tried to take down 4 statues under the auspices of they're racist. We need to get rid of these things. He was successful with one, the obelisk in Liberty, which was just a monument that showed where a riot was. That's it. But they got that down, and they failed to get Beauregard and Jefferson Davis, I think it was, and Robert E. Lee. They failed to get those down. And then we find out later that the mayor is in bed with this rich lawyer who has a slavery museum, and he wants these statues so he can put them in his museum and charge you to hear his version of events. In fact, he's paid to have these statues.
So it's like the British capturing all the historical loot, taking it back to the Royal Museum. They want these icons.
And the irony is they removed the obelisk, which is the globalist symbol that was there apparently for a riot, which they love rioting. You'd think that they would have wanted that one.
So Gavin, exactly. Are we winning or are we losing right now?
We're winning. We won that. We got Brexit. We got Trump. Canada has Trudeau. France has Macron. So as far as the Western world, there's still a lot of battles. But in America, no one takes these leftist nuts seriously anymore. They see them as loonies I think they screwed up by bringing trans into the game and all these mentally ill people poured in. And now they go, aren't you the guys that scream about bathrooms and put pepper spray in people's eyes when they try to have a speech? So everything you see right now is a death knell. It's a fish flopping in the boat, screaming hysterically, but they're done.
And since we're talking about winning, too, it's always worth mentioning, and it seems to be forgotten a lot, is what's going on in Brazil right now. Brazil is actually probably leading the way for draining the swamp, much like Iceland did with the central bankers a few years ago.
Yeah, we got a lot of visitors from Brazil. They love it. Yeah, they're awake. Let me ask you both this. What's next when we're back in 70 seconds? 5 more minutes with Gavin McInnes, and then Mark Dice joins us. They've had the new gender-neutral MTV Awards. Paul Joseph Watson hosts the 4th Hour and more straight ahead. And they've discovered Saturn's mysterious hexagonal storm. Stay with us.